On July 5th, the Special Court launched the first day of trials for alleged leaders of the Revolutionary United Front with an opening statement from the prosecution.
This is a tale of horror, beyond the Gothic into the realm of Dante's Inferno. They came across the border, dark shadows on a warm spring day, 23 March of 1991. Hardened rebels trained by outside actors from Liberia, Libya, and Burkina Faso. These dogs of war, these hounds from hell, unleashed by cynical, internal, and external criminal actors.
You will limit your, the objection is sustained. You will limit your observations to the facts. To the facts. Please, to the facts. I'm not interested in knowing, whether they were trained in Libya or what have you, So please, limit your observations to the facts.
Your Honor,
which you intend to prove the case. Nothing political, please.
In reference to the dogs of war, my client, that may be a metaphor in his mind, but I find it objectionable.
Objection is sustained, please.
Your Honor, may I be heard on this point? I am arguing facts. This is an opening statement. This isn't a presentation of evidence.
Which must respect the provisions of Article 84 of the Rules of Procedure and Evidence.
And I am certainly aware of that, Your Honor.
Right. Go ahead, Mr. Crane.
But I will state the facts.
Repeated, relentless sexual offense. Men, women, and children forcibly taken by RUF soldiers from their villages and homes.
These rebels consisted of Sierra Leoneans, and Liberians were assisted by Libyan special forces. Among their goals was the diamond fields of eastern Sierra Leone.
The initials RUF into the chest and foreheads, the very skin, sinew, and muscle of this country's
motive,
youth.
Power, riches, and control in furtherance of a joint criminal enterprise that extended from West Africa north into the Mediterranean region, Europe, and the Middle East.
These macabre signatures of RUF brutality will be repeated time and time again throughout the evidence, Your Honors, that will be given before this court. The evidence will cover 7 districts of Sierra Leone.
Blood diamonds are the common thread that bound together this criminal enterprise. The rule of the gun reigns supreme.
Counsel for Maurice Kallon, Raymond Brown, presented the 4 statements from the defense alleging the lack of command structure in the RUF and warning against finding just anyone to blame for the conflict.
There is something troubling about talking about impunity by itself, because it invites us to say, well, there clearly were, and this court has judicially noticed, wide-scale humanitarian violations in Sierra Leone during the period of this conflict. And someone must pay. And the phrase beast of impunity invites us to say, well, we must find someone who can pay from among these accused, or perhaps over across the way. When in fact, the nature of impunity does not revolve such sacrifices, but rather a continued adherence to the rule of law, the burden of this prosecution, and their obligation to prove a case against Maurice Kallon.
Your Honors, from the very outset, the RUF was a military organization with a clearly defined structure and chain of command.
This court must not start with the assumption, which defies logic and reason, that there was a clearly defined chain of command in the RUF. Indeed, there were many RUFs. And the skirmishes and battles and shootouts between various factions and groups in the RUF are not to be dismissed as mere organizational chaos that occasionally occurred, but rather reflecting its genesis as an organization of men largely untrained in military matters. Perhaps the witnesses who come before us, General Tarnow and others, will tell us how long they have trained and how thoroughly they've been schooled in order to understand and maintain chains of command. And the absurdity of suggesting that the RUF had a chain of command, but it's a purposeful suggestion, Your Honor, because the purpose of the suggestion is to fill that gap between these things that happened, that horrified us all, and this man.